Hello, this is Kev.
And Lil. We're discussing relationships in all of its forms and everything in between.
We've been together over 30 years. We've seen some things together and apart.
So if you want to laugh or need advice, come spend some time with Kev and Lil.
Have we met? Hello, everybody. Sorry for the delay on this episode. We've been having some things, and I think that's what triggered this episode for this week. We're talking about relatives.
It's all relative.
Oh yeah, it's funny because my mom always said it like this, especially when you were going through some stuff, right? With some what you would consider family, but my mother would say, all relatives are not family, and all family, of course, are not relatives. We can always discuss that at a later point, but yeah, relatives, man, they mean well, I guess at times. They're not specifically trying to hurt you, maybe, but man, doesn't it feel like they are anyway? I've had some interesting situations, so to speak, in my life. What about you, honey?
Well, I first wanted to discuss the difference between blood relatives, or shall I say family versus relatives, blood relatives versus biological, all this stuff. My thing is, if you're saying if you look at the definition of relative, it says having a relation to or connection to a person or connected with another by blood or affinity. So that means we're related because we're blood related. But then there's also other relationships, or the way
Right.
you're
I
related
mean,
to other
of course,
people.
those are the relatives you choose, so to speak, or the family
Well,
you
no,
choose.
because then there's also immediate family, like the immediate relatives, like that's mother, father, brothers, and then when you get married, there's the husband, wife, and then their children.
Right.
It changes once, whatever. But then you say, like Ma used to say, not all family, blah blah blah, and then there's the extended family, like their parents or their kids, or like from the, like, let's say your brother and his wife's family. Those are considered extended family or family by marriage and stuff like that. So we all say family, but like Kevin was saying, not everybody is family. They are just relatives.
And you wish them well, but they're not part of your everyday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You see them for certain events, of course. Unfortunately, for a lot of us now in our stage of life, it's more funerals than anything, or catching up with if someone is sick. I know. My mom has been ill, unfortunately, and we've when we went over there, I started getting calls from cousins of mine, which, you know what, I truly appreciate that. I really do. And they check in with my mother every once in a while, which is very appreciative as well. But then there's those others that, sometimes some of those relatives, they only reach out when they want something, and Oh, okay.
I'm like
Go right ahead.
Rorschach.
Go right ahead.
For instance, when Kevin stated that when Ma, which is in the hospital now, let's send some positive prayers out there, everyone. For instance, when my mother was sick, she had cancer. Thank God she's in remission. Knock on wood. I only had a handful of my family and relatives calling and checking up on Ma, and I really appreciate all of you guys, my cousins, my uncle. I love you guys dearly, and thank you for always having Ma's back and calling me and making sure that we're okay. However, Then all those other relatives that supposedly were my mother was their favorite and blase blase. She went and she visited Puerto Rico not so long ago for Mother's Day. I was so happy because she was talking about never flying, never traveling again. She had no life left and all this negative Nancy stuff. But she got better and she actually started traveling, and that I was so happy about that. But when she went over there, nobody, nobody showed up. Hardly anyone. It was like crickets up in there. And I got pissed off. And even my uncle was like, just because she wasn't throwing money at them, they didn't show up. That pissed me off. And I told her, you see, Ma, and this is why I say it, they're not all family. Just relatives. They're there when they need you. But when you need them,
Not when they need you, when they want
when they
something.
want something. Yeah, when they
You
want
know,
something, when
because
they need something.
because there are some relatives that, although they keep burning you, especially me, I've gotten burned a number of times by certain ones, and they know if they need me, I'm that sucker. I'm there. I'm there every single time. And I brought this up to my brother one time, and I said, what sucks is that for a fact they're gonna call me, and they know that I'm gonna show up, even though they cut me off or they stop talking to me for whatever reason they have made up in their mind, or stop talking to us. Um, they know very well that if they need me, I'm there in a heartbeat.
My thing is, it's like, if let's say you wronged them or you said something, talk about it. Don't assume that the other person knows what you're thinking or what you're feeling.
Well,
And, you know, all feelings are valid. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel. Who are we to say, nope, that's not right? No, that's how you feel. But talk to us about it, or talk to that person that you're upset about.
yeah, I'm guilty of that, unfortunately, right now. There's one relative that I've been avoiding for quite a while now, and I gotta reach out to them just because. But man, this person loves to push my buttons, and I mean really loves to push my buttons, and they can't be that clueless into what they're doing. I mean, holy
Sometimes
cow!
they are, honey. Sometimes they are.
I mean, you got those again. We're gonna go back to those current words, those toxic relationships, and they love to say things, and they love to poke fun, or not even poke fun, because I can take some teasing, but when you're like truly insulting me and laughing about it like it's no big deal, then I got an issue. Then I got an issue, and then unfortunately, like I said, I got a one relative that I haven't spoken to in, wow, it's got to be 5 years now. I haven't spoken to them just because, man, I was just tired of it. They're in constant competition with me for whatever reason. There's no reason for competition, and I brought this up to them in the past, and they still feel the need to be competitive over nothing. There's no ill will toward them. There's nothing there. But again, like I said, relatives are like this at times. And I mean, yeah, you've got probably friends, or what you think are friends, are like this also. And I love this person. I truly love them. But man, whew, the stuff they like to say. I mean, the last thing I remember speaking to them, and they said, we were talking about the kids, and they said, well, you know how we are. We raise our kids better than everybody else. And I just went, did they really just say that to me? And I said, you know what, gotta go. And I haven't spoken to them since, just because I didn't want to
So
do that again.
basically, they raise their kids better than we raised ours. Is that what they
Yeah,
meant to say?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, they definitely said it as if they raised their kids better than everyone else, which is still rather insulting. And really, wow, talk about an ego. Talk about compensating for something, because they're always constantly saying they're the best at this and they're the best at that. And I'm standing there looking at them like, who are you talking to? Because I wasn't trying to compete with you. Why why is this such a big deal for you? But that's who they are, and I've put up with it for so long. But that last one really
Mm,
was the last straw for me for
mm.
quite a while.
And once again, if that's how they made you feel, you have every right, that's how you felt. But I think you should have sat down, or you should have opened a dialogue. You should have spoke to them and told them, listen, maybe this is not what you meant to say, but this is how it sounded to me, and this is how it made me feel. And I should listen to my to
I was,
myself.
I'm looking at you dumbfounded that
And
you're actually saying
doing
this.
that as well with certain people that are toxic to me, but they probably don't see it that way. And I need to sit down. And I have, in a way, I have spoken to certain family members and tell them, it's not right. What you're doing is not right. It makes me feel XYZ. And then what really kills me is when they laugh in your face, like you said, Kevin, and they think you're crazy because of how they make you feel.
Well, of course, and there comes the manipulation.
Oh,
Oh boy, the manipulation. And I know you. I
mm-hmm.
me, you know how I am, but you unfortunately
I'm a
fall for it.
sucker.
You
Yes.
fall for it.
I feel bad. And that's my downfall. I'm like, oh, what would people say, or how would they feel if I wouldn't show up, or who else is gonna do it if I don't? You know what? I have to put my foot down, and I think I'm getting better because I have been speaking to my therapist, and I have been getting better at it. I think.
I think so. I gotta admit, you were very gullible. At one point when it came to your relatives, you were very
Mm,
gullible.
mm.
Not to your relationships as much, but definitely when it came to your relatives or whatever. Yeah, and even now you still can be,
It
because
was
I
just
look at you and I'm like, I look at you and I'm looking at, and I'm going, don't do it. Don't do it. They're sucking they're sucking you in. You don't even realize it, and and I don't know. Maybe it's coming with age, at least for me. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've always been somewhat outspoken, um, but man, I gotta tell you, look at the other day. We're not gonna say names, of course, but we're gonna look at the other day. We visited some relatives, right? Right? We visited some relatives, and I'm sitting there looking at this one person, and they're sitting there and they're telling me things, and I'm just looking at them like, you do realize I have children and grandchildren now, and they're telling me how I should do things, and I should this, and oh, let me tell you, and I should, and I'm just looking at them, and I'm just dumbfounded, going, are you that stupid, or are you just that egotistical? And I'm going, holy cow. And finally I just went and I said to them, I was like, yeah, I know this. I know this. And I felt that little tug on my arm from you, like, don't do it.
Don't
Don't
shut
do
up.
it.
Don't say it. Just let
And
them talk.
I just went, yep, you're right. But don't get me wrong, there were certain things that were being said during that conversation that even you were like, okay, it's time to go.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, oh, I'm getting hungry, or I made up some excuse. But yeah, I also wanted to talk about people that we consider family, non biological, our family, like we usually
Oh, I
say.
thought we were going to get to that another time, but you want to
No,
talk
but I'm
about that
saying
now?
they're also part of our family, which is people that are not related, but we consider family. Like what that saying they say is like, you can't choose
You
family.
can't choose your family, but you could choose your friends.
Yes.
You choose your friends, of course.
Yes. And then like you were saying, how gullible. And I feel like you say I'm gullible with my family, but I think it because since I was younger, I was always taught family comes first, blood is thicker than water, and all those sayings, right? Like I always had to be there for my family no matter what. And in a way, I understood, you know what? You're right, cuz family's everything, right? Family's there for you. But as you get older, you start realizing, nope, that's
Not
not the
all
truth.
family.
That's not the fact. There's this family bond that they want us to enforce, or force that bond onto us. And that's how I felt. Like, and I think till this day, my mother still feels like that. Like everything is family, everything. But then, when she got sick, she started realizing.
Didn't you even have one relative even tell you that? Oh, actually, you've had more than one relative actually say to you, "Oh, well, you're gonna pay me to be around her." Literally wanted to
Yeah,
get
to
paid,
get paid to so they could watch my mom or stay with her or
and it
accompany
wasn't it
her.
wasn't
And
like they were living with her. They were like, "Well, no, I mean,
yeah,
my
like
time is worth
hourly or
something."
some shit.
Yeah, they wanted to get paid
Listen,
hourly, and it was
Linda,
literally for
I
like a
don't
day.
think
It
so.
wasn't even like it
Yeah,
wasn't like, oh my god, and it wasn't like you were gonna have to change your mother. It was
yeah.
just
And it didn't
just to be
happen to me
around
per
her.
se. It happened to yeah, but yeah, they were asking to be
Paid. Oh
compensated.
yeah, yeah, paid.
And
That
more,
killed
like
me.
you said, more than one person has done that.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
that one person that you're talking about, it wasn't to me per se, like it wasn't done to me, but another, so well, a person has thrown that to my face, and I'm like, listen, if
Oh
you don't
yeah.
want to be
That
here,
guy. That guy's has done
you
it
don't want
once,
to
more
be
than
here,
once
you
now
can
too.
just walk out the door.
That
It's
piece of
not,
crap.
nobody's forcing you. But let's not go there. What else?
I mean, just being around certain again, being around certain relatives, it's so freaking stressful.
Mhm,
I mean, you could talk about the holidays with relatives, and you
mhm,
could talk about just going to dinner, let's just say, and they wanna, and you're sitting there going, what in the world are you talking about? I mean, I've got certain rules that I try, and don't get me wrong, I'm not great at them, but I go by bar rules. I call them my bar rules. And, don't
mhm,
talk about politics, don't talk about religion, and, if you can, don't talk about sports, okay? Because, again, people are very passionate of those things.
mhm.
And, and their belief in their beliefs can outweigh everything, and there can be a lot of hurtful things said that can't be taken back, and it's just, again, it's just so much that can be said and done, and unfortunately a lot of people cross that line
Mhm.
from the moment you walk in the door, that you're looking at them like, really?
And then they want to tell you, oh, it's okay, they're family. No.
No, heck
Like,
no.
in my, I, am I like, okay, for me, family is made up of those people who are truly there for you, right? People that know you, like really know you. They return the favor and genuinely want what's best for you. People who will push you to grow and challenge you. That's family to me. And it doesn't have to be a blood relative. Like I said, family is not always blood. These are the people in your life who want you to be part of them or their crew, or like we say, our village, that value who you are. You know what I'm saying? That I consider family.
I get it. I get it. And I think another issue is because, like you've said, we've spoken about our mothers, and I think one of the things too is, although you may be related to these people, sometimes maybe you've outgrown them.
Oh, that is so true.
It's a shame. It is truly a shame.
Mm,
Um, the interests aren't the same. The beliefs are not the same.
mm,
They their way of thinking is just not falling in line to what you want. And again, you want to wish them the best. You really do.
yeah.
But again, it's like, do I really want to be around this person right now?
You
Do
know,
I, it could be a lot.
now that you're saying that, you made me think about my biological father. May he rest in peace. Um, when they always say daddy issues, I personally, I want to say for a fact, I had daddy issues. I always, how kids always like, oh, what did I do for him to leave? Or what did I do that he doesn't want me or he doesn't want to be in my life? And all my life, I've always wanted to find out, and I'm like, daddy this and daddy that. And I felt bad because I had my stepfather there practically all my life. He was there for me all the time. And I felt bad in a way when I would like go out of my way from my biological father. And I just feel bad now after so many years. And at one point, when he did something to my oldest, I got so upset. And at first, I didn't mind that he would have done it to me. But like I've said before in other episodes, when you do something to one of mine, like my children or a child or an animal, I just lose it. And I remember he did something to my oldest, and I'm like, that's it. I lost it. And I was like, I'm cutting him off. And Kevin was like, you told me, you were like, babe, I'm so proud of you because I outgrew that. I outgrew that. I
That.
needed him in my life. I outgrew the fact that I wanted him to love me. I outgrew all of that. I'm not saying that he didn't, because I know my biological father loved me, but I don't know. I don't know what his issue was. And at one point, I was like, I'm going to stop trying. I'm going to stop trying. And when I did, I felt better.
Yeah, I remember. I remember you. I mean, I remember also. I mean, I wasn't a fan of the guys to begin with. There was just, I possibly have an issue with older men just because sometimes I feel like they're not the role model. Some of them have not been the role models for me that I needed or wanted. My own father, of course. But I remember when your father showed up.
I was
I
so
was
happy.
dating you for like 6 months at that point, I want to say. And he showed up out of nowhere. And I said, when was the last time you saw this guy? And it had been at least, what, 10 years from that
No,
point,
it
that
was
first
more.
point? No, no, it was 10 years because your mom and him finally got divorced, I think, when you were 18, officially, right? So, yeah, so we were dating when you were about 28.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
So
so I
10
want to say it
years.
was 10 years. And I was like, who in the world? Why is this guy all of a sudden showing up? And, I put up my defenses toward him. And I just looked at this guy like he is not here for the right reasons. He's trying to pick up where he left off. And again, we're not going to get into all that. And then, when he passed, I started putting two and two together later on, too, about certain things. And I said, holy cow, Papa was a rolling stone. There was no doubt about that.
Because I found out, I know I had two two other siblings, in total three. I have three other siblings, and I'm the oldest. But when my father passed away, my uncles, my father's side, his family, my father's family, didn't know about the youngest sister, my youngest sister. I had to introduce her to my father's side of the family. They knew nothing of my other siblings, my brother and my other sister. I lost contact. My father. I would ask him. I remember when he was living with my mom. I was like, I want to know my brothers and sisters. Do you know anything of Richie? They used to call him Richie, Richard. I don't even know my other sister's name. And then my youngest, Jessica. And I was like, I want to know about my siblings. And he had no idea. He knew nothing of them. He knew about the youngest because she would reach out to him to ask him for money and stuff. That's what he would tell me. But right then and there, I should have been like, I thought it was just me.
No, it wasn't just you. And it's funny because our older son, he saw it. And there were certain things, and I got to tell you, those relatives for at least your father's siblings, nice people.
Oh, I love them.
They're
Hi,
actually
Uncle
very
Sammy.
nice people. Um, and I remember when your sister, yes, I'm using those air quotes, um, she hit him up for money as well, and he gave it to her. And I said, oh, when he told me,
Yeah,
I said you shouldn't have done that
yeah, he didn't
because I knew
know.
it. I knew it right then
He
and
just
there,
wanted to
and
help.
that was the last time he had heard
Yeah,
from her.
he found, he was like, that's gonna be my last time,
Right.
first and
And
last
then,
time.
and, but again, speaking of relatives, right? And then she tried to do the same thing with us. Remember? She tried to hint towards certain things. Oh, my boyfriend got arrested. And I'm like, I looked at Lil, and I said, last conversation we need to have with her. Because I tried to do the decent thing when you were hurting, and I said to them, it'd be great if you guys can have a relationship. She's never had a sister. She's never had, at that point, she really
Yeah.
didn't have her nieces or
Oh, I was
nephews,
so
right? Because from what I
happy.
understand, the girl had her own kids as well.
Yeah, I was
It'd be
so happy
great
I
to
had
have the
finally.
kid because our youngest was there,
Hmm.
and but yeah, you could clearly see these weren't the type of relatives we wanted to be around.
That's okay.
They were very much about what can I get from you.
Yeah.
What can you give me that I can use?
I'm
Even
happy with my
even when
nieces
going
and
through the
nephews I have
even
now.
when going through the apartment. Remember? Even well, you barely remember because you were in a bit of a daze.
Yeah, I was
But
going
I just
through.
looked at them like they were
I was
picking through this
grieving.
like scavengers. They were picking through that
Isn't
apartment.
that horrible, guys? When somebody passes away, they come out like freaking, what's the word? Like
Like
vultures.
yeah,
Yeah.
vultures, absolutely.
It's
And we're
disgusting.
trying to be as me. I do not put up with the drama. I am drama free.
Mm.
I do not like it. I do not appreciate it.
I just, yeah.
I cut them off at the knees if I could.
I just feel like I wanted to know more. And guys, if you have a loved one in your life and just sit down, talk to them, record them, you know, find out. They have some great stories. Like my mother in law, she's in the hospital, she was talking to us for hours. All these stories that I don't think you've heard of, right?
There was a couple I hadn't heard of.
Yeah.
There was a couple I
And
hadn't heard of.
we gotta keep those memories alive. Let's not just wait till the day that they pass and then we're all sitting in the freaking funeral talking about all these stories and oh, I wish we knew this and I wish we knew more about that. Oh, we never found out that recipe, that famous whatever that they used to make. We don't have those recipes. Get them now. Don't wait till it's too late. Okay? I mean, I know we're talking about relatives and everything. We're getting dark here, but I'm just saying, let's collect those memories so then we can share them with the future generations.
Yeah, but again, you don't want to pick and choose. You hate the idea, but in the reality, you almost do. You do subconsciously, I guess, or unconsciously, however you want to put it. And sometimes you purposely just go, yeah, I can't deal with these people anymore. They anchor you like as if they're dead weight.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, I'm not calling people dead weight. I'm just saying some of their issues or again that drama that they want to bring with them
Mm-hmm.
is the dead weight, and you start feeling guilty. I know you do.
All the
You tend to
time.
feel
All the
guilty.
time. I feel so bad. I mean, just because they're family or relatives, it doesn't mean that they can do or say whatever they want. Sometimes it's just easier to cut someone off from your life than have to take that abuse because in so many ways it doesn't have to be a physical abuse because sometimes they do as well, but it's that verbal abuse, that emotional abuse. Abuse is abuse, guys, and it's better just to sever that. And I know we always keep on coming back to that toxic relationship. You also can have those type of relationship with family members. And sometimes if you can, the easiest thing is just to cut them off. Cut them off, you come out, cut them out of your life and you'll be a happier person for that.
I mean, the last thing you want to do is have them make you feel less than you're worth.
Yeah, and then if you have kids, they'll see that.
Oh my
And they'll
gosh.
think it's okay. It's not okay.
And the last thing you want is for them to mirror those relationships
Mhm.
later in their lives.
History
Like, oh
does
well,
repeat itself.
which is sort of what you did, right? Let's be honest. That's what you did. You've had a couple of relatives that have really done you wrong. Okay, and we're not going to get into what and when
Hmm.
and who, but we both know who we're talking about that have truly done you wrong. And let's be honest, your mother was like, "Oh, but we're family." Yeah, but family's not supposed to do that to each other. Family's not supposed to to treat people that way. Family's
Hmm.
not supposed to again make you feel less than your worth, and certainly family's not supposed to make you feel like, well, it wasn't that big a deal.
Oh man, putting all that stuff under the rug. Oh, it's not a big deal. And years later, oh, why are you bringing that up again? What? Listen, cut them out. Cut them out of your life. You don't need that drama. You don't need that toxicity. I, I just, yeah, I don't, I don't talk to those people anymore, and they probably have no freaking clue. And better for me. Better for me.
Better for both of us.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, so that's our thoughts on relatives. Oh
Also,
wait, you got something else? I'm
yeah.
sorry. What
What
else you
about
got?
those people like those adopted people? That's family too. Adopted.
Yeah, but they're not
Family.
relatives though. This is what you get. What I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we can definitely
Yeah,
like.
but they're adopted. They're like if you adopt a child, that's not family.
What you're talking about adopted family?
Adopted,
Oh no, we've got
yes.
a.
They're
I've
not
got
just
a
because they're
couple.
not blood.
Oh no, well that's okay. Okay, yes, but they're still relatives,
Yes.
right? So I don't understand where you're coming
I'm
from.
just saying, just because they're not blood, they're still family.
Yes, dear, but we're not talking about family. We're talking about relatives. We're talking about people that you're related to, whether it's on your side or my side. And, it's just, certain ones, it's just like, hey, again, we'll go back to the, wish you well. If we see
Hmm.
you, we see you, but it's not, we don't need to be in each other's lives all the time.
Yeah.
I certainly don't need to sit there and be abused. I certainly don't need to sit there and be spoken to as if I'm a 13-year-old kid not knowing a dang thing in the world.
And not only that, some family members like to take advantage. Like, I used to work for someone, and that person was famous, and their family members used to take advantage of them all the time,
Yeah,
asking
I
for
remember.
money, asking for favors. And I'm like, Jesus, God forbid this person ever goes bankrupt. They'll be gone in 2 seconds.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, if you have friends, you know who your true friends and family are. It's like when you're at the lowest and when you're at the point that, you know, there's no other place to go but down. That's when they start saying bye, see you later, because you can't give them anything.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Well, like I said before, we again, you've got this was us on relatives, um, and it is what it is. You guys decide on your relatives if they're worth keeping around or if they're not just worth keeping around, but if they make you feel like you're worth that abuse or that again toxicity.
And listen, maybe you're the one that's not right. Maybe you're the one that's mistreating your relatives. Maybe you're the one that should give them more time and more love and more attention. It could go the other way too.
Absolutely. All right, so I just want to remind everyone that we are available on pretty much every streaming platform as far as music and podcasts are concerned, from Apple Podcasts to Spotify. We're on YouTube and Pandora, you name it. We're on virtually all of them, we're all and you can find us all on Kevin Lil Have We Met. Whether and you can also find us as well as on the socials from Instagram to Facebook. I believe we're on Twitter, and again, the handle our handle is still Kevin Lil Have We Met. Also, our email and our
Website.
website is all the same. Kevin Lil Have We Met.
Please comment, share,
Yes, and if you feel that
follow.
you can't stand a relative right now, certainly share this with them.
Yes, please tell us stories. And maybe we could bring up the topic again. Or maybe you could be one of our guests
Yeah.
discussing about some relatives.
Oh yeah, that would be fun. We're starting to look for certain guests for certain types of episodes, and please reach out to us. Again, you can find us on any one of those or email us. We certainly will reply. Uh, Thank you.
Goodbye.
So thank you for listening to Kev.
And Lil,
Have we met? And here's hoping you have better relationships in your life. Goodbye.
Goodbye.